Hi, welcome to Anaprime Recap. You are forced to be the father of a baby who will be the next demon king, and your mission is to take care of him until the little one destroys the entire human world. We are in the anime, Beelzebub, Season 1. Episodes 1, 2 and 3. At Ishiyama High School, the students value their reputations and get more recognition as they face other students, fights are constant, and in the end, only the strongest comes out victorious. In the morning, several students gather to see up close the legendary battle between Abe from the second year who holds the title of Fighting Machine, against his famous opponent, Tatsumi Oga from the first year. The boy carries the title of Angry Ogre and everyone recognizes him as the demon of the Kata school. While preparing for the beginning of the fight, people notice that Oga is releasing a large amount of water from his body. They imagine it to be sweat. After all, he was facing a great opponent. But in fact, there was just a baby doing number 1 on the boy's head. Oga is enraged by this and confronts the little boy about his repulsive attitude. At this point, Abe tries to interfere, but is punched in the face. The baby lunges toward the bully and unleashes a powerful electric current that reaches all the students in the place. He felt threatened and therefore released his power as a form of defense. Later, after the great supernatural phenomenon, Oga tells his friend, Takeuchi Furuichi, the whole story of how he found the baby that releases lightning waves through his body. The boy reports that he was sleeping near a river and some students took advantage of this to attack him. However, Oga acted quickly and managed to put an end to their plan. After giving all his opponents a great beating, the boy decided to dive one of the students into the river as a form of revenge and realized that a large man was floating downstream. The students who were there fled at the sight of the strange fellow, but Oga acted differently and with one hand held the man and threw him out of the river. The boy then struck the big man in the head with a blow. After this, the man's body opened in half and out of it came a baby. Then the subject closed his body completely and fled the scene with tears in his eyes. The protagonist, not knowing what to do in the midst of this strange situation, approaches the child. Oga tries to scare him with various faces and a frightening voice, but as he does so, the baby becomes attached to him and from that moment on, the two of them become a duo. Takeuchi cannot believe that the whole story is real, because nothing makes any sense. He tries to argue with his friend to return the baby to its real parents, but in the midst of this, the little boy gets angry and again releases a large electric wave that hits both boys hard. In the school hallways, Oga tries his best to keep the baby from getting angry. However, this is not possible. Ishiyama High School is known to be the worst school in the country. It is attended by 120% delinquents. All morning long Takeuchi tries to entertain the little boy with drawings and toys, but none of this works. The baby gets angry several times and always unleashes his powerful electric attack that hits several students throughout the morning. During recess, the students engage in brutal fights to buy the school snacks. After several battles, everyone realizes that there is only one yakisoba bun left, and the bullies start facing each other to decide who will get that delicious treat. Before the fight starts, the baby walks up to the last snack and throws it away. With that, all the students run after the bread to get it. Amidst all the chaos and turmoil for a yakisoba, the little boy is amused to see the catastrophic scenario he has just created. That same day, a small dark portal opens in the sky and a woman appears on top of a flying creature and claims that she will find her master anyway. After school ends, Oga talks to Takeuchi in his house. The bully boy tries by all means to give the baby to his friend, but he rejects the proposal and says that he will not take care of the little boy, so they start an argument and try to push the custody of the baby to each other. The angry protagonist tries to scare the baby again to get him to move away, but this only makes the little boy even more attached to Oga. At this moment, the woman who appeared in that world through a portal enters through the window of the room and asks that the human return her young master. Her name is Hildegard, and she wants at all costs to take back her master. However, the little boy refuses to go with her. Oga mocks the woman for the fact that the baby prefers to stay by his side, but Takeuchi tells his friend that if he surrenders the little one, he can get rid of him once and for all. The bully reasons for a few seconds and tries with all his might to push the little boy to Hildegard, but the baby becomes enraged in the midst of that stressful situation and again releases a large electrical discharge, causing a tremendous explosion in the room. After this, they decide to have a more friendly conversation. Hilda explains that she is a demon and a servant of the baby. The woman also reveals that his name is Kaiser of Emperana Beelzebub IV, in other words, the Lord of the Demons. Hilda explains that she will not take her master with her, because he has already chosen a human to be his father. She says, the great demon lord said that he would destroy all humanity because humans are annoying. But due to his commitments such as the Black Dragon King's wedding, the Chupacabra hunting tour in Hell, and Ma Zhong's 10,000-day marathon on Demon Island, He could not go in person, and so he decided to send his son to destroy all of humanity. Thus, Hilda was charged with taking the young demon to the human world and finding someone to raise him, and ultimately make sure that Beelzebub would destroy all of humanity. After this explanation, the two boys believe that this could not be real, at which point the strange man who appeared floating in the river enters the room and tells them that they made a great choice in giving the young master to Olga. Hilda informs that the man's name is Elendilin. He is the dimensional transfer demon, able to transport people and other things across dimensions. Elendilin tells him that while he was floating down the river, he observed that there were several humans crawling at the feet of a boy and that this would be the perfect father for the young king. Olga, upon hearing this, understands that all this happened only because he fought with other bullies. However, the boy says that he refuses to keep the baby and asks Hilda to take him away. The woman then wields her blade and says that she will eliminate him for not fulfilling his obligations. Olga and Takeuchi quickly flee the scene and try to escape from the demon. The protagonist realizes that even in the midst of that dangerous situation, the baby was still by his side and did not leave him at any time. Hilda finds them and says that they will not be able to run away from a demon. She orders a kubaba, the demon bird, to attack the boy. Olga does not hold back and kicks the creature and continues running from Hilda's powerful attacks. In the midst of this, a group of bullies realize that a woman is chasing the angry ogre, so they decide to help her capture him. Hilda corners the boy and lightly pierces Olga's face with her blade, and a drop of his blood falls on the baby's face. The little boy is enraged by this and begins to cry. He releases an electric sphere that repels everyone around him. Several rays start to be released from his body and everything around him is destroyed. Hilda says that the young master becomes uncontrollable when he enters this stage. According to her, only the great demon lord could calm him down in that situation, and it is then that the protagonist puts his hand on the little boy's head and says that if he keeps crying, everyone will think he is a wimp. After these words, the baby stops crying and everything returns to normal. The boy leaves and tells the baby to stop following him. At that moment, a large steel tower that was in place collapses due to the damage it suffered from the electrical attack. The large structure begins to fall toward the baby. Unconsciously, Olga turns to protect him and does not understand why he did this, but in this moment of tension, the power of Beelzebub connects with the protagonist, and so they are able to emit a devastating energy that completely destroys the tower. After this, the boy faints instantly. When he regains consciousness, he wakes up in his room and believes that it was just a dream, but Hilda, who was beside him, says that he has slept for 2 days and Olga will have the obligation to take care of the Demon King so that he can destroy all of humanity. As the days pass, the boy tries to understand more about the behavior of the baby, who is now called Beel. Together with Takeuchi, he conducts a test with the little boy and realizes that he is attracted to and is happy about bizarre things. The next day, the pair of friends meet again and the protagonist says that he is completely exhausted with the routine he leads with the baby. The boy says that a demon has invaded his house and now his life is hell. Olga explains that Hilda introduced herself to his parents and asked them to treat her like a daughter. After seeing the girl next to the baby, the family understood Olga to be the child's father and forced him to take care of the child. Beel tries to approach the boy to have him carry him, but the enraged boy kicks him into Hilda's arms. The baby begins to cry and shoots his shockwaves at the young man. Hilda explains that they must not be separated, for as Olga moves away from his master, the waves of electricity are even more powerful. Takeuchi listens to his friend's outburst, but completely ignores the boy's situation, saying that he is actually jealous of having Hilda living in his house. Meanwhile, some bullies take advantage of the situation and capture the baby. Olga despairs, for if Beel releases his electric wave from a distance of 15 meters, the damage to the victims will be fatal. In addition, other rivals appear to challenge the protagonist to a fight. The Sanada brothers, who hold the two-headed dragon title, Abe, the fighting machine, and Shimokawa, are ready to enter a fight against the boy. Olga fears distancing himself from Beel, so he asks the challengers to come closer. Just as the fight begins, the bully boy throws a punch that knocks Abe and Shimokawa away. The Sanada brothers advance with a chainsaw and a drill, but are defeated with Olga's secret punch, ground punch. The protagonist also teaches the delinquents who caught Beel a lesson. In the end, he manages to get the baby back, but soon after, he drops him on his head, which causes another shockwave. That same day, upon returning home, Olga realizes that Hilda is gaining the trust of his entire family. He tries to inform them that she is not what she appears to be, but none of them listen to the boy. The protagonist then decides to go for a bath, but is accompanied by the dimensional demon. Elendilin was there to inform him of the distance in meters that the boy was from the young demon king. He could not get further away than 15 meters, otherwise the worst would happen. Still during the night, Beel has managed to sleep for the first time. Elendilin gathers in the room with Hilda and Olga. The dimensional demon informs them that he has brought someone along, and as he opens his body, Takeuchi comes out of it. Elendilin reports that the boy was walking around the outskirts of the house and thought it best to take him inside. With everyone gathered together, they discuss Beale's future. The dimensional demon informs them that the baby master is attracted to strong and insensitive people. Soon, Olga understands that he just needs to find someone stronger and more insensitive than him, but as he thinks about it, he ends up making everyone laugh. Meanwhile, in hell, the demon lord receives a picture of the human responsible for raising his son and decides to send it to Beale, his favorite toy. The next day, Olga goes all over the school looking for someone stronger and more insensitive than him, but he can't find anyone, only suffers a stink attack from Beale and as usual another big electric shock. Hilda goes to the school to deliver the package that came from hell to her master. She looks for Olga, but only finds Takeuchi. While in the midst of those delinquents, one of the bullies tries to conquer her, but with her blade, the girl throws him away. A few minutes later, Hilda finds her master with the human. Beale was already irritated and ready to cry, but before that could happen, his maidservant hands him his favorite toy, a rattle that emits a sound that makes him calmer. Hilda asks if Olga has ever met someone more wicked than him, and the boy replies that so far without success. However, he reflects that Ishiyama High School is the school with the most delinquents in the whole country, so the principal of the institution would be the most wicked person, since he is responsible for all the bullies. The trio then walk to the principal's office and prepare to talk to him, but when they open the door, they come across a timid and fearful man. Olga then gives up that plan and continues his hunt for someone terrifying. Hours later, Beale begins to cry and Hilda realizes that he is hungry, but Takeuchi informs her that the baby's food was destroyed when the woman burst into one of the rooms by throwing a delinquent out. As a second option, Hilda goes to the cafeteria and buys milk for her master, but in the confusion of the break, the little boy drops his snack and one of the bullies steps on it. Beale cries and releases a large amount of lightning again. At the end of that day, Olga takes the baby away from the school and tells him that he cannot cry every time something bad happens. He will have to be strong and brave until the day he fulfills his main mission. In the midst of the protagonist's motivational speech, two bullies approach on a motorcycle and capture Beale. Olga runs as fast as he can to keep his distance from the baby, at which point Elendilin appears at his side and joins in the rescue of the young master. A few seconds later, the delinquents are surprised by a large man standing in the middle of the street. The motorcycle collides with the dimensional demon. The protagonist comes out from inside Elendilin and quickly retrieves Beale. He puts him on his head and they both merge their forces, generating a great energy. Olga then releases his secret technique, Punch of the Demon Lord. With this, the opponents are thrown with a brutal force. After the confrontation, the protagonist walks home with Beale. However, the little boy plays with his rattle until it breaks in two, and clearly ends up releasing an electric wave that causes an explosion in Olga. The next day, the protagonist dreams of what his life will be like in the future. He imagines that Beale will grow up to become a terrifying creature, but the demon will not be able to adapt to Earth and will probably destroy it as soon as it feels the slightest discomfort. In the morning, Hilda delivers some bottles of milk to Olga. She instructs the boy to feed Beale 5 times a day with milk so that he will not cry. Soon after leaving home, the little boy has his first snack on the street. When Beale arrives at school, he cries again, but the protagonist can no longer find the bottles. He has forgotten them on the street while waiting for the baby to finish his lunch. Olga quickly leaves in search of buying milk from the school machines. However, when he arrives at the place, he realizes that the milk was already sold out. He then tries to think of a milk-like drink to feed Beale. At this point he notices that the machine has yogurt and as a desperate measure decides to buy it. In his haste to solve the situation, he passes in front of some delinquents who were in line, leaving them in a total rage and a new confrontation is generated. In the end, Olga manages to buy a large quantity of yogurt and still gives the students a good beating. Beale is happy to have his new snack, but the protagonist is informed that there is a student named Kanzaki who always buys yogurt. They report that he will be furious that someone buys the entire stock of his favorite drink. This offender is known to be extremely violent and is responsible for sending some students to the hospital. Olga is excited by this news, for if there is anyone worse than him, Beale may attach himself to another violent and insensitive human. In the third-year building, the second-year students are being punished for being defeated by Olga, a first-year student. Kanzaki is in the room, interested in meeting Olga in person, since he appears to be very strong. A few minutes later, the protagonist goes to the third-year building and everywhere he goes he scares all the seniors, who just run away. In the third-grade homeroom, Kanzaki is surprised by the sudden arrival of the freshmen. Facing the school's biggest bully, Oga ponders how he will deliver a baby to him and finds no reason for the senior to agree to stay with Beale. Before he could make any proposals, Kanzaki says that Oga must first face Shiroyama, and only then will the bully listen to what he has to say. The bodyguard of the school's biggest bully is the tallest student of them all, and is willing to take on the first-year boy. He approaches the protagonist and before he can attack, Oga lands a blow on his neck that causes him to fall to the ground at the same instant. Kanzaki is impressed by the boy's strength and decides that he will be his new bodyguard. However, Shiroyama gets to his feet and asks him not to make this decision, but the bully kicks him in the face without the slightest compassion. Kanzaki says that if he wants to redeem himself he must get up first. The big man gathers all his strength to stand up, and when he does, the delinquent asks him to throw himself out the window to prove his devotion. Shiroyama is shocked to hear this and cannot even move. Kanzaki realizes that his ally will not obey his orders, so he approaches Oga and says that he is willing to listen to him. However, the boy is so angered by Kanzaki's attitude that he launches an attack in his direction, hitting him with a spiral punch. His opponent is thrown away on impact, and everyone is stunned. Kanzaki regains consciousness and says that the boy will regret doing that. The delinquent throws a yogurt in Oga's direction and lunges forward to attack him. The protagonist acts quickly and defends the bully's blow with his arm and takes the yogurt with his other hand. Oga tells him that he has found some despicable trash and so he will take the right action. The boy uses his new technique in conjunction with Beale, infernal throwing Kanzaki out the window with all his might. Finally, the boy believes that he has taught a good lesson to those who really deserved it. Beale rejoices in all that chaos, and at that moment, Oga remembers that he has not yet been able to get rid of the baby. After this, the boy is reunited with Takeuchi and Elaine. They realize that although Beale was happy with the battle, he was out of his milk and yogurt, so the baby again releases his electric waves all over the place causing a big explosion. Will Oga ever find someone capable of keeping Beale? So, what did you think of this anime? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like it and subscribe for more anime recaps. See you next time.